Good day, viewers around the world. You are welcome to this beautiful Wednesday morning here in Milan, 28th of February, 2024. My name is Mark Godwin Iweajunwa, and we're here to give our updates on our news regular program, News Echoes Global Africa. Joining me from different parts of the world, like we normally do, are coordinators, my friends, my brothers. In faraway Toronto, Canada, is Sir George Chukwu. Sir George Chukwu, how are you this morning?
I am wonderful. Good morning, Mark Godwin, and good morning, viewers from around the world. Welcome to our show. It's going to be a great one today.
Wonderful. And we can't do this without having somebody right at the mouth, hitting the ground with Nigerians. Is Olayinka Raji from Lagos, Nigeria. Good morning, Raji.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, viewers around the world.
Good morning, Raji. Fantastic. How are you?
Amen. I'm fine.
Beautiful.
We are all fine. We thank God. We are fine, gentlemen. But a lot of people are not too doing well. A lot of people are still in terrible situation, serious situation. Let's start with some news headline. These are what we're seeing in the newspaper this morning. 10 people are feared dead in Onitsha market building collapse. This happened last night. Yes, 10 people so far, but we know the numbers could be more. The governor, Chukwuma Soludo, visited the spot, and he was really emotional about what he saw. So Monday night saw 10 people killed at the Ochanja. It's called Ochanja Market in Onitsha. And that collapse happened around 8 p.m. Nigerian time. And also, what we're seeing from the newspaper this morning again is the Senate. Nigerian Senate has urged the federal government to introduce a Nigerian version of food stamp program. The food stamp program will be an interim intervention to cushion the effect of food shortage in the country. So this is coming from the Senate Chief Whip at the House. That's Ali Ndume. He's seeking for an introduction of food stamp. These are what we're looking at the newspaper for now. Also, there are some new updates that's flying into my phone. We hear that the federal government wants to begin some road construction, about some old road constructions that were left by the last government. The new government is taking it on to begin work with those on those roads. Port Harcourt, Calabar Road, Lagos Road, and these are all super highways, like the news is saying. Also, on our updates from as we're getting, is federal government says it will work closely with top businessmen in Nigeria to be in a bid to strengthen the country's economy. Gentlemen, these are newspaper headline. Now we want to come into the discussion. The discussion is where you come in. Or do you have anything to say about the headlines, George or Raji? Any of the headlines?
Well, it's very, very unfortunate about what happened at Onitsha, and this could be as a result of not following the the prescribed building codes and all that kind of stuff. So it is very, very unfortunate. Look at that. 10 people died, and possibly more than that also. So who knows what happened? They tried to avoid doing things the right way, and these are the consequences that we face for that. So my condolences to the family. It's such a tragic situation. We don't even need to hear about this time of the year with everything that is going on in Nigeria. But also about the roads that they're talking about building. We are, so there are so many things that are flying out there. Hopefully, some of these things that are coming might become realities, but just too much promises, and I haven't seen anything that is really changing. One of the major problems, anyway, I wouldn't say anything else until we get to certain subjects, but right now, as it stands, hopefully some of these promises that they are making will become fruitful, activated so that lives can be a little better in Nigeria.
Lives can be a little better in Nigeria. Thank you, George. Raji, anything on the news headlines?
Yes, the unfortunate incident of the collapse in Onitsha market. Very, very unfortunate. Very, very sad. Very, very sad. And I think, like George said, as long as building codes are not strictly followed, especially when you are talking about the pillars that hold up the building, you are likely to have a collapse. Now, thank God, Nigeria is living up to its responsibilities about the Trans-West African road line that comes from as far up as Senegal, along the coast, through Lagos to Calabar, Port Harcourt, up to Cameroon and going on. I understand that most of the countries on that axis have finished their own part of the line, except Nigeria. And from say Ghana to Nigeria by road, the road system is awesome until you hit the Nigerian border and everything collapses. And it is supposed to be part of the Trans-West African line, ECOWAS line, that is supposed to link all the countries and make traveling easy. This road, the East-West road, has been on for more than 20 years. Hopefully, it will come online this time around.
Hopefully, the saddest part of all these things, if you go back into the system and begin to look, every administration provides resources and financial resources and money to build this road, but it never gets down to the ground. It never drops to the ground.
Gentlemen, sorry,
that is one of the major problems.
Let me bring in let's bring it out, man. Okay, DG Better Niger, Sorosoke, wonderful program, wonderful network. Femi is doing a great thing. Listen, Nigerians, Femi is doing something real vital at this point in time of our lives. We can't all be looking at one direction. We have to have diverse direction. So in all, we collect it together and bring in our progress. Femi, I welcome you to this beautiful morning News Echoes Wednesday. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Good. Gentlemen, let's come into the discussion. Let's come in down. As at 9 p.m. yesterday, in fact, some of the branches didn't get the information until this morning. But as at 9 p.m. yesterday, the Nigerian Labour Congress suspended its protests. They said they extend the ultimatum to the federal government. This was yesterday, 9 p.m. In a communique sent around, the National Executive Council held a meeting on that yesterday and said the objectives of the protest have been achieved on the first day of the demonstration. But a lot of people are not seeing this. Femi, let me bring you in on this. Started a protest and suddenly, boom, they called it off. Femi, what's happening with Nigerian Congress, Nigerian Labour Congress?
This is a recurring decimal. The Nigerian Labour Congress are always going on protest, lamentation and protest, and they're always suspending. It then brings to question what was the purpose of their so-called protest or national strike in the first instance. This is a protest and national strike that didn't have the support of the TUC. Okay, they didn't support it. This was supposed to be a national strike in which we saw strike in Lagos and Abuja. We have 36 capitals, 36 states and FCT. I didn't see anything happening in any of the other states. I don't know how national that was. And I keep asking the question, protest is a legal right, and I thank God that we have that. Nigeria remains a democracy, is their right to protest, and great that they did so. What we can't have is protests turn into riots, and we have to give thanks to the police and the way they handled these protests, giving out water and biscuits to quell any kind of suggestion of protest. I think it's quite good for them to do that in the sweltering heat of Lagos. The people are getting free biscuits and water to cool their heads. So yeah, let them protest. Obviously, they could see that their protest had no momentum, so they had to suspend. By all means, in all countries, whether it's France, whether it's India, wherever it is, people are protesting. Even in the UK, they're protesting. It's a right to free protest, but that's not going to change what's happening on ground. There are far more important issues to really be discussing. Like the CBN the other day, yesterday, had its MPC meeting, the first in this government's since Tinubu has come in. That should have been the headlines. You know, that's something to focus on. And there were some pivotal decisions that they made. We're talking about the Oronsaye Report, the Oronsaye Report. That's another big issue to deal with. We're going to talk about that later. So, you know, by all means protest, but will that achieve? What is the purpose of the protest? Did it achieve its purpose? I guess if it was to inform people that they're not happy and that they're hungry, we've heard.
Okay. Anyway, what the Labour said in the communique that was sent out, said the objectives have been reached. They said, in fact, they achieved it that first day. Before we go into more on this, we want to bring in our wonderful diva, BD Nana from Lagos. BD, hope you can hear us. You can unmute your phone, BD.
Yeah, I can hear you very well. Good morning, everyone. Our viewers all around the world. Nice being here again today. Sorry I came a bit late.
It's okay, BD. We know you're always on ground. She's always on ground, checking on news, collecting information, doing great job for us here on SSM. BD, the Labour in its communique said they've reached and they succeeded in what they are trying to do, and they called off the protest. You are there. You followed it yesterday. You sent me some things. Now, is it true? Did they achieve anything, or is it some behind the scene settling like normally happens?
But that's the obvious now. See, Adeyemo, I think, is the worst NLC president Nigeria have had. That man is a confused man. Because what we had yesterday in Nigeria is nothing close to protest. What we had in Nigeria yesterday was a match pass, if you ask me. Now, you know why I said that? They said it's a nationwide protest. And what we saw in only 11 states out of 37 states in Nigeria, you know, Abuja is included. What we saw yesterday is nothing close to protest. In Lagos, they were saying a different thing. In Abuja, they were saying a different thing. In Oyo, where the governor of Kehinde came out, they were saying a different thing. There was no single agenda of that protest yesterday. Do you understand? And within, not even up to 24 hours, you're not asked to go and come back today. Then in the night, you called off the protest without achieving anything. Now, this morning, so many people have already started going to the protest ground. We've not even had the stories. You know what that means? Police will see you coming to the protest ground, they will arrest some people. Kudos to Lagos State police stations. It will stop police giving people water and biscuits. For the first time in my life, I'm beginning to come in terms with that word. They say, police is your friend. I just saw it play out yesterday. Do you understand? But if what happened yesterday was not a protest, it was just a march past. Shame to Joe.
What happened yesterday was not a protest, but a march past. George, are you? Do you align with BD? Because yes, we were just about to kickstart in keep bringing the updates and doing some journalism thing, and boom, it was called off. And people like in some states didn't even know. They were still doing what they were doing. George, let's hear you.
That means that there was not a national coordination regarding what is going on. It's very sad. I was wondering actually what was the purpose of the strike when they wanted to call it to begin with, because everything that he was saying that they needed is still on works. You know, the wage increase and all those, everything that we're mentioning. like Bidi was saying, if you go from one state to another, their mantra is something different from another state. That means there wasn't any national coordination or, concerning what they were striking for. I personally believe that something happened in the middle of the whole entire thing, and they saw that it was a fruitless type of strike. Maybe they were taken care of. Maybe that was the reason why every time the pocket is a little empty, they will begin to shout until they are appeased. Or I don't know, But these things, is beginning to very disturbing when you really think about it. You're doing something without any kind of positive direction and purpose, and halfway you just stop. How many times are we going to deal with this type of situation? It just doesn't make any sense.
How many times are we going to deal with this type of situation? Raji, the federal government said, what they said is they fulfilled 90% of the agreement with Labour. This is coming from the Minister of Labour. She said, the woman, Onyeje Acho, said the federal government has achieved 90%. One of it is that they've been able to agree on the minimum wage of 35,000 naira to every worker. We don't know how that is. And they said that they made a provision of high capacity buses for mass transit in Nigeria. They said also that they are battling now to make sure food inflation, the forest crisis, and all these things are being settled. So is it true? You are there on ground. You follow things, Raji.
I wouldn't know, and I'm not even aware of a meeting with the Labour Minister, with the NLC or whatever. Actually, when I saw the video of the protest yesterday, I wish I had been part of the protest, because I saw people enjoying biscuits and cold water. It was very, very funny to me. Very, very funny to me. I think, like other panelists have said, there was no coordination at all. And I don't even think there was any intent to go on demonstration, other than to, like Our Lady said, just do a walk past. I don't think if the government says they have had any agreement, I don't know what happened. I'm not even aware of any meeting that could have brought up any kind of agreement.
I don't understand, Reggie.
Can I just comment? You see, I always wonder. I mean, I call my fellow colleagues opposition sort of people, and I just understand. I'm confused what they expect from protest. Protest is exactly that. A march past. You're just there to vent your anger with a poster saying, we want this. That's the purpose of protest. But it looks, I think in Galali, the spokesman for the presidency said that some people in the opposition want this protest to go beyond protest and are venting for people to protest in a more aggressive manner. And I think we should be steering clear of anything like that. Protest is supposed to be peaceful. It's supposed to be a walk past and a march past. And any idea that it should be aggressive and something completely different is undemocratic. We've seen what's happening when the Palestinians are protesting in the UK. It's peaceful by and large. Most protests should be peaceful. That's the whole purpose of protest and demonstration. That is the purpose. So any narrative to the contrary, I think, is undemocratic.
George,
as a matter of fact, we are truly sick and tired of all these narratives from the government about, every time something happens, you blame the opposition. Opposition wants this, opposition wants that. What do you expect the opposition to do? In the first place, to begin with, the opposition is not. I haven't had any particular opposition. Not the PDP man or the Labour Party person coming out to instigate any of these things. These people are suffering. Stop blaming the opposition. I mean, every time, the government is coming out and blaming opposition did this, opposition did that. What did the opposition do? People
you didn't hear what I said.
It is a reaction. This is a response to, what is happening in the nation. Look at every time there is a little food being given away, people are dying because of how they are beginning to act like animals, because hunger can make you feel that way. So let's talk about this thing about opposition. There is nothing about opposition. What we are looking is, we are trying to build, we are building on a faulty foundation. We need to go back to the structure, go to the foundation and change everything. Because this is exactly what you get when you begin to become what you call every day you make one promise, you know, to appease people, but nothing is happening. Now, number one is I detest this type of protest, because when did Ajero talk to anybody to sit down and discuss and reach agreement? He was out there yesterday until about 9 o'clock or whatever the case might be. When did he discuss any of these things? Okay, now you're talking about $35,000 minimum wage. What is that? That is a drop in the bucket. A bag of rice is almost naira. Okay, a bag of rice is $80,000. 80,000 naira. I'm sorry. Naira. You know, what is that going to do for people? You know, so let's stop all this blame game or opposition, this opposition that. First, go down, start fixing the problem, go down to the structure and change everything. We have more than enough money in that country. The major problem we have is, yes, we have more than enough money if we are managing it well. Look at how much is going outside of the country. Look at the roads that are being built and nobody is building. Money is being provided. People are stealing from us. That's what it is. We can debate that. Nonsense.
Okay, BD, yes, you were going to say something, but before you go on, talking up, right.
No opposition wants these things to be destructive. Now, my own personally with Ajero is this. You came out to protest, and why did you came out to protest? Nigerians assume that you came out to protest because Nigerians are hungry. You want things to be done right so that the hunger issue in Nigeria can be taken care of. Now, when you came out that you're hungry, you're angry, you should hold this protest at least for like 48 hours, if not at least 72 hours. Do you understand? But you did not. At least hold this thing for like 2-3 days. Let the government know that, oh, you are serious. See, let me tell you, I keep saying this in any way I go to. Most times in Nigeria, when there is protest and turns out to be very destructive, it is government intervention that makes it that thing. I agree with in Nigeria, most protests in Nigeria always start as peaceful. It's government intervention that makes it to become destructive. So nobody is starting anybody. The thing is, they say Nigerians are something. Now let me tell you, they've written their communique. They say they will give it to Senate. Senate will now appoint committees. You understand? And they tell you in Nigeria, before you resolve any issue in Nigeria, it takes 3 months to 6 months. Now they will appoint committees, and the committee will now start sitting on it before it gets to president. Before you know, we enter into another election, and people are dying of hunger. Is that what we need? Now look at what happened. It was after yesterday that Tinubu now came to say that Nigerian economy will get better. Now my question is this: why should he wait this far before speaking to Nigerians? He knew what Nigerians are going through. He would have asked. He's a father. He should have come up to tell Nigeria, oh, don't worry, things are getting better. Look at what we are doing. Look at what we are doing. Another thing I'm saying is this: see, we are not cultivating anything in Nigeria. They should open our borders, and then people who are importing things, they should reduce some levies they are paying, so that those products, when they enter market, it will not be too expensive for Nigerians to afford. There are food. We don't have food scarcity. What we have is money scarcity, and our money no longer has power, so people cannot afford it. That's what we're saying.
That's what we're saying. Thank you, BD. Yes, Raji, you were speaking.
I was agreeing to what BD was saying about the demonstrations or protests turning riotous. From my student days, I knew that anytime students go on protest, it is always peaceful until the police come in with their force. And that is it with most protests in Nigeria. Until the police come in, now that they have changed their tactics, and they are now coming instead of tear gas with cold water and biscuits, I'm sure things will be better.
Just on a final note, there was a video going out of a protest going on in Kaduna on Suleja Kaduna Road. Okay, you can see that was violent. There was no police there, and that just shows you the typical nature of protest in Nigeria. When it's unpoliced, when it's they go into violence. They were destroying vehicles.
Typical. That is not typical. They were not destroying vehicles. They just made bonfires on the road.
I saw the video.
I saw the video. I'm in Nigeria. I saw the video.
They were destroying vehicles. They were not. Oh my God!
They put bonfires on the road.
No problem.
And that is a singular. That is a singular case.
Gentlemen, added to what we're saying. There's a popular lawyer and human rights activist, Mike Uzokume. He has raised an alarm. He said the naira will keep falling against the dollar and might hit 4,000 naira by the end of the year to the dollar. 4,000. This is Mike speaking. He has his intelligence. He knows what he's probably saying.
He's an alarmist.
But is he not a lawyer? I didn't know he was an economist. I didn't know he was an economist. I thought he was a lawyer.
You don't have to be an economist to talk about economic matters.
Oh,
now I'll say that Mike Uzokume. Yes. That doesn't. I'm not an economist, but I have an opinion. Economics is not an exact science. Now the value of the naira, the value of the naira is going up because of speculation. It is not because there's a demand for dollars. No, it's just speculation. And the government has to be careful about floating the naira. And I had thought that the government would take drastic measures by, first of all, closing down all BDCs at least for the next 6 months. At least for the next 6 months until yes. Okay. If we refuse to trade in dollars, because we are trading our money in dollars. Why have we dollarized our economy? I did a transaction in South Africa with dollars. When I was being given change, I was giving rand. In country, they spend rand. They don't spend dollars. And the case of our DOM accounts, I will believe that a DOM account should have only inflows from abroad. Not that people in country will go and change naira into dollar and come to a Nigerian bank in country and deposit dollars, which is what has been happening. Which is because we are speculating with on our money. It's not that there's a serious demand for dollars. No, it's speculation throughout.
Well, one of the major problems we have. Okay, we are taking advice from IMF. Hold on,
and World Bank.
Yes, taking advice from IMF, who actually does not want our economy to be stable because it profits them when we are like this. So one of the major issues that we are having today is actually floating our money with dollars.
Yes.
And not only that. And not only that, when the fuel subsidy was mentioned, exactly the same thing that happened then is happening now. You guys have to remember that when Buhari was printing extra money, he was printing extra money. We were supposed to take away the old naira and replace it with the new naira. So all that extra money that was printed, and we're still using the old naira, what do you think that is? Is flooding the market. That's why there's inflation and there is weakness of our money. And we did not take in consideration, like give us time to plan this before we institute it. What we do, we just do boom. And that's exactly the resulting consequences of this.
I think we should have a specific program on the economy and the money, because some of the statements, I'm a bit confused. Look, one, they didn't print enough of the new naira. That's why that policy was a dead policy on arrival, because they didn't produce enough, and people had to use naira to buy naira. There wasn't enough new naira
in the banks. The banks were not giving it away.
Let me finish. I'll let you speak, please. They didn't print enough. There was never enough in circulation. That's one. Two, the world economy is a dollarized economy. You understand? The dollar is the world currency, and that's why BRICS are trying to break that status quo. But Nigeria is dependent on imports. We all know that. And as such, we need and we will use the dollar. The dollar is essential. And the thing is, yes, a lot of it is controlled by speculation, but of course, our demand also is quite rife. And the government is making several decisions. I mean, they're putting new regulations for BDCs, increasing the capital threshold for them to start up in the first place, and the number of branches that they can have. A lot of regulations are coming into, and the CBN governor yesterday said there'll be more emphasis on regulating the market now. Even the banks and everything, regulation is going to be the key word right now. You'll also notice that interest rate was increased to curtail inflation. So a lot of things are happening right now. It will take time.
Yes, we will.
Interest rates. Hold on a second. I want to ask a question.
Let's hear from BD.
I want to ask a question. What is the interest rate? Is 36% right now as it stands. They're going to increase it again.
It's not 36%.
I think it's 22.
It's 22.75.
7, yes.
22.75.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
BD, go ahead. BD.
In Nigeria, when the interest rate was 17%, people were getting it of 28, 30. Now that it's 22%. How much do you think they get it? You're not fighting any recession. I'm telling you, we are entering into recession. That is, we are using our hands to push ourselves into recession. That's exactly what. This is not the time for this. The thing is that most times we don't check the season and the period before we make some policies we make in this country. And that's actually what has brought us to where we are today. I'm telling you, I woke up, I saw that news, I was like, are we okay? Are we even thinking?
I think we should have a program specifically about the economy, and then we can discuss all these things.
Yes. Gentlemen, viewers, you're watching us here live. All these great people of Nigeria looking for a better Nigeria with Femi, George, BD, Raji, and myself. Yes, we're going to have a program that looks focused more on our economy. We'll work that out with the network, and you guys will be informed. Gentlemen, let's go on a break. Let's go on a small break. Lots and more things to talk about, and believe me, we have this huge number of people listening to you guys drop your good knowledge and insight on these topics. So we're coming back, viewers. Don't touch the dial. We'll be back with you in a minute. Thank you.
Arise, oh compatriots, Nigeria's call, obey to serve our fatherland with love and strength and faith. Shall never be in vain to serve with heart and might, one nation bound in freedom, peace and unity.
This country has some of the most extraordinary culinary diversity in the world. I'm talking about Nigeria. This first dish is amala abula, made popular by the Yoruba people in southwest Nigeria. It starts with amala made from dried yam and then is covered in a variety of soups. Next we have ofe nsala, a white soup that is synonymous with the Igbo people of southeastern Nigeria. It goes best with fufu, or akbo as the Igbos call it. Next we have suya, the most well-known food of the Hausa and Fulani people of northern Nigeria. Meat is covered in a peanut-based powder called yaji and cooked over an open fire. This is banga and starch, a classic of the Yoruba people of Delta State. Lastly, we have onunu, a plantain-based swallow of the Izon people in South Nigeria. We are eating it with fisherman soup, popular throughout this whole region. And of course, we don't forget the jollof rice. This is popular everywhere in Nigeria. I think what makes Nigeria so great is the diversity of all the different people coming together. These beautiful ethnic groups living side by side, sharing culture and cuisine is what makes Nigeria such an amazing country to visit. Nigerians should be so proud of that cultural heritage, as there is so much more that unites than divides them.
Gentlemen, viewers, you are welcome back to SSM News Echoes Wednesday, our Global Africa update. Let's come to something very, very crucial now. There are more topics, but let's run through this one as fast as we can. There is this young man called the Yoruba Nation activist, and he's making some real strong statements. Igboho Chief Sunday Adeyemo Igboho, popularly known as Sunday Igboho, said yesterday that they are going to get the Yoruba Nation, but it will be through a peaceful means. He also said the federal government should release the other man, the IPOB man, Nnamdi Kanu. Gentlemen, we want to talk about this. When we are all looking at a one Nigeria, some people are still agitating for us going our separate ways. Let's hear Igboho talk, make some comment. Let's hear him.
Stop politics. This guy didn't do anything. Today is 27th February 2024. Release him. Let him go and stay with his family. This guy just fights for his people in the southeast. Like me, I'm fighting for my people in the Yoruba land. Release him. Let him go. Stop politics game. Release Kanu. Let him go home. Please, release him.
Okay, gentlemen, let me start with you, Femi. You are from the southwest of Nigeria. How do you feel when you're clamoring for better Nigeria, united Nigeria, progressive Nigeria, and some people still want to say, no, let's go our different ways. We are different people, we're different tribes. How do you feel hearing some of these things?
I'm glad you acknowledge that I am for one Niger and a better Niger. Yet yes. Some people, even though I'm that is my mantra, are calling me a tribalist. And I say, well, that's far from the truth. For one, someone like Igboho, for example, I find him as, I mean, I can never support someone like Igboho. He's not fighting for me, that's for certain. I'm Yoruba, he's not fighting for me. So he's fighting for his own agenda, which is dead on arrival. I keep repeating that. And he doesn't speak for the majority of Nigerians. And he should stop parading himself as if he's speaking for us, because he doesn't have anyone's mandate. He never went anywhere to seek a mandate from anybody to say that he's speaking for anyone. So he's just speaking for himself. He's at liberty to ask for the freedom of anybody. He can ask for the freedom of a murderer or someone who's even convicted murderer. He can ask for the freedom, but it's not his right to make sure that that happens. Now, of course, it suits him for Nnamdi Kanu to be free because they're birds of the same feather. They're both agitating for scatter Niger, which I'm definitely not for. I'm not for scatter Niger. And many people will be asking, that wasn't there an outstanding warrant for Igboho, and that how comes he came back into the country and is living large? I've seen many videos of him living large with serious security and whatnot. It calls into question when people start saying that there is not equality in the way that Nigeria is being managed, you see? Because if indeed there's an outstanding warrant for him, and it was a big issue, they went to arrest him and all that, on his arrival in Nigeria, he should have been arrested straight away. Then we know that there's equity, fairness, and justice. He can then, from inside prison, he could have got bail or whatever, he can answer his questions, you understand? Because he, after they tried to arrest him, he escaped via the border, the Nadeka route to Republic of Benin. So to me, I think if he keeps on making so much noise, and if he keeps on doing it in such a way that can create another kind of furore in say, in the Southwest, I think he would either find himself back in Germany, or he might well find himself arrested. So it's up to him. He can make noise, or he can lay low like he did in Germany and let Nigeria run itself.
Yes.
Raji.
Yeah. Raji.
Yes, please.
I know you're there.
Yes.
Raji Igboho is also saying that Nnamdi Kanu, the IPOB, the British Nigerian politician activist, IPOB convener, should be released. How do you see this?
Femi is talking about a warrant of arrest for Igboho. When they went for Igboho, they were not going to arrest him; they were going to kill him, and he had the right to protect himself and to escape by whatever means. They came in the dead of night to kill him. And when they came, they didn't ask questions. They just came and they were shooting. The man has a right to protect his life. About his calling for Kanu's release, that's his own issue. Femi is talking about equity. Is there any reason why IPOB should have been called a terrorist organization and banned?
Absolutely.
Compared with the atrocities, please compare with the atrocities that was being committed by the Boko Haram, which has been known to be part of the third most terrorist organizations globally. Compared to them and compared to whatever ranting that IPOB was doing, which was limited to the southeast, there was no reason why IPOB should have been prescribed while Boko Haram was still being and then for so-called rehabilitated Boko Haram terrorists being enrolled into the Nigerian army and the Nigerian security forces. Let's be as for the unity of Nigeria, it is not sacrosanct. Nigeria, as I see it, is just an amalgam of confused people. There's no clear basis for me for a Nigerian nation until that nationality question is settled. I don't feel any serious commitment to a Nigeria as a nation. It's not a nation yet. It is just a country. I am a proud Yoruba man. I get my essence from being a Yoruba man. I know who I am. The Nigerian state may withdraw my Nigerian citizenship, but my Yoruba-ness is from antiquity. It can never be withdrawn from me. For us to form a nation where everybody is regarded as equal, we have to have a foundation. Let's renegotiate our togetherness. We talk about unity in diversity. There's so much diversity, there's no unity. The only thing that brings us together is probably sports. And that is actually the ingredient of a failed relationship where they come together only for social interaction.
Okay.
I cannot go out anywhere.
Okay.
If you are going to go
strong
to
words
divide,
coming from Raji here today. Strong words.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I agree with Raji in a way. It's his personal opinion regarding what is really going on in Nigeria, and I agree with Femi Oke also. In another angle of the whole entire situation, when he talks about, I believe in one Nigeria. I believe that we are one of the greatest nations in the world today, if we can manage ourselves very well. If we can have a good active leadership where there is a fair, equal ground for everybody to operate and participate in the nation. So that is what it is right now. Now, regarding we're talking about Nnamdi Kanu, that's his own personal opinion. But also, Nnamdi Kanu is being unfairly held. He's been granted bail by the court, and but one individual or a group of individuals are fueling this whole entire thing to hold him back over there. And very unfortunate actually he insulted quite a few number of Igbo people, which I believe that a lot of those dignitaries that he insulted might not want him out. You know, so that's my own opinion, but he should be released. At least, even if they release him, they can either give him a house arrest or mandate him to, you know, lower his, you know, the hot narratives that he's bringing a lot of this situation. We need a nation that can look in the same direction together. We need a nation. Now we have an opportunity to build one nation. We do have that now. And I can guarantee you, if given the fair chance and the fair opportunity for this man in power right now to put himself together, I believe that he will do that. That's what I think he will do. Because there are so many things happening in our nation today. But with the problem we have, until we go back to the foundation and start rebuilding the foundation, whatever he's putting on top of this faulty foundation will just, it will disintegrate, and then at the end of the day, it will not amount to nothing. That's my opinion in that.
Nothing.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, Mark. Let me just put in a word in support of George. Yes, I suggested that, you see, nation building is not for one person. And after the elections, since we have a president in place, we should all realize that, look, his success is our success. And therefore, we should all put hands together to help him succeed. Because there's no gain for all of us if he fails. And therefore, I had suggested what some American citizens had called the loyal opposition. It's a group of patriotic Nigerians whose loyalty is to the nation and to the success of that nation, and who are political in most ways, and who are ready to bring their intellect together so that this government will succeed, and will succeed for all our sakes. And then we can start building a nation in which all of us will be proud. But the way we are going like this, when some people are protesting, you say it is the opposition trying to say something bad about the government, and we are just looking for excuses. So let us form a loyal opposition of a patriotic people who are determined to make this government succeed, and it doesn't matter where they come from.
And it doesn't matter where they come from. Thank you,
John. You know, opposition is a constructive.
Let's move on to one of the major topics.
Loyal opposition.
Let's move on, gentlemen. Strong discussion going on here. Viewers, you are hearing them live. These are wonderful viewpoints we're bringing to you this Wednesday, 28th of February, 2024. And we're having we're doing our program, News Echoes Global Africa. Gentlemen, something is brewing, and it's something that our viewers need to understand. What I found out is sometimes news pass around in Nigeria, but people don't get the essence. People don't understand the background and the stories and everything. So they just assume things, and everybody just carries on a narrative that they don't understand. So what we're going to do, gentlemen, is elaborate and give an understanding of something going on called the Oronsaye Report.
Oronsaye.
Oronsaye Report.
Oronsaye. Sorry.
I said that. Oronsaye.
Yeah, sorry.
Oronsaye Report is a report that was submitted actually in 2012 to the Goodluck Jonathan administration. Now, a little thing about the man Oronsaye is he's called Stephen Osagede Oronsaye from Edo State, Nigeria. He's a Nigerian accountant and a civil servant who was appointed head of the civil service for Nigeria in June 2009. He began this program of reform immediately his appointment, and his reform has some very good strategy he has put there. Now, the Goodluck Jonathan administration did not work on his report. Rather, they released a white paper on that report. And I guess you guys know what that means when there's a white paper on the report. Buhari's administration came in, re-examined that white paper, and also released a second white paper on August 2022, but they did not implement that report. But the Tinubu's governance is now looking at it, and they want to implement the report. So, gentlemen, I don't know if you're following Femi. First of all, let's give us your background view on this whole thing, Femi. What's the take?
This is another good initiative from government. You see, in Nigeria, we talk about the cost of governments is this, corruption and whatever. The Oronsaye Report was established specifically to reduce the cost of government and trim governance so that we can have a smaller government. You understand? Because we felt that government was big and there was a lot of waste and squandering of money. And so that report was there to do just that. We've got so many agencies duplicating work when they could all be streamlined into one agency and to do the same job instead of 3 or 4 different agencies doing the same job. They, however, the governor said that they will do their utmost not to curtail that there won't be unemployment. People will just be redeployed. But I think there will have to be cutting of staff, but we'll see, because obviously if you've got 3 director generals, you can only have 1. So the other 2, what's going to happen to them? So there's that. It's necessary, and it's part of the reforms that this government is doing. You rightly said that Jonathan had the opportunity to execute it. He stayed away. Buhari had the opportunity to do it. He stayed away. And why did they do it? Because they didn't want the wrath of the unions, the Nigerian Labour Congress, the TUC, because normally they are the ones that kick against any kind of reforms in labor or civil service. And so, whereas this president, who came in on day 1 and said subsidies gone, is doing that which is most difficult now. And I've always said it, that when the crescendo is at its highest, that is when you should take the most difficult of decisions. Don't wait for 2-3 years and then, like Buhari, you're going to say, election is coming or we can't do it. Do it now. Even though it's going to be unpalatable, do it and move on. So I'm fully in favor, and it's part of the physical policies that government must do, because while you have monetary policies, you must also have physical policies to control government spending and exposure and make government more leaner and more efficient. So it's actually producing results. That is what we want. Whether it will amount to that, they've got 12 weeks or so to implement it. We should wait and see. But if it's implemented properly, it could make a big difference in the way things are operated. And I think that it shouldn't just be at the federal level. We should have states having their own Oronsaye report to do the same thing in the states.
Nice.
Okay, that's very good.
Sorry, George, let me put the question before you talk. George, somebody came up and said to also implement this Oronsaye's report, it will cost us money. He said it will cost a lot of money because you need to set aside money to be able to deal with the ramification of the reports. And all this involves fund. And the person says, whatever we do also, take notes, I mean, merging people, retiring people, because some people will be retired, some people will be merged, some people will be put together in other agencies. Now, this will also cost money to do all of this. George, so what will you say? Oronsaye's report.
The bottom line to it is this. It's a good report, but it will take time to implement. This rush of 12 weeks, I don't think it will do the job, because that is exactly the same problem we have with this fuel subsidy. No preparation before implementation. That is exactly the same problem we're suffering today, with floating our money. No preparation before implementation. So what we are saying is, it is a good idea to do so, but also you have to start from the top. The president is the first who will now show by example, by trimming his own, making sure that his government is lean. All these parastatals and all these little people that are floating all over the place. Let him streamline it, show by example, and go down the way. Now, preparation ought to be done in order to take care of these agencies that are duplicated, because you have to find a way where you're going to put them, We need a lot of teachers. We need a lot of other places where they can be, put in. So it will take time. These 12 weeks, I can guarantee you, it will cause more problem than the solution that will come out of it. So let them take the time, study it, and begin to implement it slowly. It's not something, it's not a boom bang effect. It will destroy a lot of things. So that's one of the major problems you see, because listen to this though. Like I said before, if you are trying to put building block on a faulty foundation, after you build the whole entire thing, the whole structure will fall. Let's take our time. Let's take our time. Implement this stage by stage, progressively, until we perfect it. That is the only way that I believe is going to work. These 12 weeks will cause more problems. Or maybe they just, unless they're just trying to make noise about some things. But if they are serious about this is like a 6 months to 9, to almost a year thing that needs to be taking time to build and solidify it.
Wow. So, George, thank you. It's a serious one. What we want to do is to also, sorry for that. What we want to do is to also make sure that people understand what that report involves. It's going to be a lot of measures, a lot of adding many things together, and it's Raji. What's your view on this? Oronsaye's report.
Sorry, I didn't hear you well.
Okay, can you hear me now? Yes, I said, what's your views on this? What's your take on the
Oronsaye report? Yes. A report comes in, there's a white paper issued. And white paper. I don't think 12 weeks is what they want to use to implement it. I think it's the 12 weeks that they want to use to study it into and to see the modalities for the implementation. If they are going, I think it's just going to be a rush job. And like George has said, you need to build a good foundation before you start building a structure.
Thank you. Thank you for being brief on that. Gentlemen, before we go, let's look into something also that's crucial. George was talking about the curtailing of the presidency. Now, Qatar has revoked its decision. Earlier said that they can't have any business forum with Nigeria, but now they say yes, it will go ahead. And yesterday we got a list of all those that will be going, and we still see it as an ambiguous, what you call bogus plan to carry everybody to Qatar. And I mean, some of the people on the list, we don't see any reason why they are there. So anyway, the minister of Nigerian Minister for Foreign Affairs came out yesterday. That's Toga Abdul Kader said it's been clear that we'll be involved with Qatar in the business forum, while the president also will be visiting. Okay, Femi. Okay, do you have any update on that? Do you have anything?
Yeah, I know. People are saying that the president's son and daughter are going to be in the list of people going there, and some other people. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't want to personalize these things. They need to work out what they're doing, and they need to either inform us what the role of those people are. Are they going with their private funding? Is the government funding them? And if the government is funding them, in what capacity are they going? So those kind of information must be made public, and people are right to question that, especially when the government has said, the president has said that he's going to be curtailing foreign trips and who can turn up. You understand? So if they're going in their private capacity and they've got the financial resources to do so, and they're tagging along, great. If they're just going for the ride, I think that's a big issue. So we even also, what are the role of the son and daughter in the government? I think that should be emphasized, because when Donald Trump was in government, he had a lot of his family there, but they all had specific roles to play, and they were given specific roles to what you can call it nepotism or whatever you want. But if they are seen, because the president is at liberty to employ whomever he sees fit. That is a right, and you cannot take that from them. And if he sees that his son and daughter are capable of doing these things, why should they be precluded from doing them? We shouldn't join it as it's nepotistic or whatever. If I'm a son of a president and I have the capacity to do the job, why should he not give me the job?
Okay. Aside those involved in the summit, George, we're having this business and investment forum, BIF they call it, in Qatar from 2nd of March to 3rd of March, and we've had similar investment forum, business forum, but we're yet to see the dividend. George, what is all this going around? Get involved in
that's one of the major questions. Number one, I don't even know where they brought this list out, whether it's real or not.
No, it's real. It's real. It's real.
Okay. If it is real, okay. Well, I don't know, because this can be duplicated. They can do this and then send it out there. They've done, Oluwale before like this. I don't know whether they're doing it just to make the president look bad. But if that is the case, like what he's saying, what is the president's son's part in the government? What role is he playing? Does he have an office? And what does his office entail? That's number one. Number two, but we need to check, because that's another aspect of this thing that we're doing. How many trips have this president taken
that's what
so far? How many people did he take on those trips? What are the results that we have gotten from these trips? How much is it costing the nation?
Okay.
On this number of trips that are being taken, with the number of people that are going, people are still saying we need to curtail, we need to streamline, we need to chisel what we do regarding this whole entire thing. So the reason why thousands are traveling and going with them is something that I don't even understand. So these people, what roles are they playing in the trip?
Can I just add? I think that I've often spoken and I've put in place an idea that if the president or a governor comes to a country, especially like the UK, where there's a massive diaspora, there are measures and things and proposals that they can put in place that he could be going back with hundreds of millions of pounds and dollars, wherever it is, if it is done and targeted properly. The problem is they come over with the ESTA codes and they spend lots of money and they leave a lot of the time with just empty promises. If they come properly and it's organized in a proper manner with the Nigerian Diaspora Commission, they could target specific diasporans and business entities in the UK and Canada and America when they go on these trips to make sure that those people turn up and that they will get first-hand opportunity to properly invest there and then with the government and get signed off. People would be, if they know that was happening, diaspora would invest heavily in such an event, rather than it just being a talking shop where you just come to say, oh, hello, shake hands, slap each other's back. That's nonsense. Make it a formal, this is an opportunity for you to invest in Nigeria. When we're coming with all the ministries and whatever to make sure that if you want to do a deal, you can do it on that day and that week or whatever, and we'll sign and deliver it for you there and then. You'll see how much money they will raise. And that will cover any cost. That will cover any cost of any trip that you're talking about.
Anyway, listen to this though. My major problem before we go is this. My major problem is the negative thing that happened with Qatar already. If that is true, because most of the time I don't believe, I think, maybe some people are doing these things to make the president look bad. If that is true that they actually were basically trying to negate his coming to them and trying to make it all into like an inferior type of whatever, then I'm not quite sure why we are going there. Because if you have a negative image of me, you don't want to put me on an equal pedestal with you, then what am I doing there?
What are you?
That's my question. It's a question. I'm not making a statement. You know, do you understand?
I understand.
Somebody that doesn't really want you. Well, actually, why some of the reasons they gave was one was that there is the Web Week. There's this global web forum also they used to have in Qatar, Web Summit, and it was in that same time when Nigerian president visits. Yes, and
we have a lot to.
Go ahead.
We have a lot to gain from Qatar, and Qatar is not a small country. There's so much we can gain from international relations and trading relations with them. They're also an oil company. They've moved out of oil in many respects. They've diversified and whatever. They've got loads of gas. There's so much synergy that can happen between Qatar and Nigeria, and I think we should embrace it and see what we can gain from them.
We should embrace it and see what we can gain from them. Gentlemen, awesome. Some of our people went off maybe network, but listen, you guys have put it straight. Today has been beautiful. Viewers, we have come and we have done what we do, what we are good at doing. Igboho's take, we've talked about the merger plan, agencies that will be scrapped with the Oronsaye's report. We've talked about the human rights plan to, the labor plan to suspend the protests. We've talked about a lot of things, and all is in view of a better Nigeria. We want a better Nigeria, and thank you, Femi Oke. That's the DJ. Thank you, viewers. Thank you, George. George wakes up early morning to be on this. For a progressive Nigeria. George, you're awesome. Thank you. So viewers, till we come your way again on Friday. Friday is our international global update. Till then, have a beautiful midweek. And please spread the love. Better Nigeria, like Femi would say. Thank you.